All right, welcome to Postcast Fish Talk. I am Rachel Post.
I'm Brian Post.
And this is episode 9. Tonight we are joined by Chris Williams, owner of Empire Sales Group, and he is a national sales rep for Falcon Boats, Armada Pontoons, and Offroad Campers. Hi, Chris.
Hello, everybody. How are you guys doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty good. Pretty good. Yourself?
Well, if I could escape the cold weather, it'd be great. But it seems like everywhere I go, I was in Cleveland, I think a week or two ago, and snowing, cold. And I thought, man, I can't wait to get back south. And I ended up in Dallas the next week, and it was cold again. So my wife keeps sending me these pictures of these Bora Bora vacations she wants to go on. And that is getting, she may get it if she keeps it up.
I've received a lot of phone calls from folks in the south half of the country, basically scolding me and telling me to come down there and take my weather back. So
yeah, man, I left for boat shows. The next day, Little Rock, Arkansas got 11 inches of snow, which we get about once every 4 years. And then I ended up in Cleveland, and it snowed almost every day there, -0 wind chills. Headed back home, stopped off for a night, went to Dallas, got there, and it's like 35 degrees. And in Dallas, that's not normal.
Right.
So, but spring's coming, hopefully.
That's right. That's right. So with your Empire Sales Group, explain to me what an off-road camper is.
Well, ORC Outdoors, Off-Road Campers, they have a camper that has independent suspension, it's lifted, has 31-inch tires on it, a heavy ply tire. It can actually be taken off-road. We have models that are less than 3,000 pounds that you can pull with Jeeps, all the way up to 28-footers. We actually stayed in one last week in Knoxville. We had to take one along to show some dealers, and my son and I, Jamie, who works for me, we actually spent the whole weekend in one. It was nice to get out of the Holiday Inn for a weekend, but they're a really neat concept. There's no wood in them. They're all a bonded core board, so it's aluminum, 2 aluminum sheets with 2 inches of foam bonded in between them. It's a really cool concept. The fit, the finish inside these things is amazing, and just some of the features that they've added to them. I mean, the one we had last weekend was the X2, which is our hunting version. It has a 4-gun rifle safe in it. It has a 2-pistol safe in it. It's got LED lights outside. They're in the process of designing a skinning rack for deer.
Nice.
To be able to, right on the back, you've got an LED light that shines down. You've got an outdoor shower right there. It's going to swing out, have a winch on it where you can winch your game up and be able to skin them out, wash them off, everything right there. So it's just it's always been a niche market that's been growing. We do about $12 billion worth of campers in Australia. So they decided to bring it to the U.S. market, and man, is it really taken off. It's really a cool feature. Said independent suspension, so when you do go off road, a wheel drops off in a hole. The whole camper, being a solid axle will roll over. This here has independent, so it allows them, not, instead of the camper leaning over so hard, the wheel drops. But they have a different hitch system on them. Instead of having a ball, it's a McHitch, which looks like a PTO shaft on a tractor, basically. And so it allows that to be able to roll and not pop off the ball if you're off road. It's really a neat product.
That's cool. That's cool. Yeah, that's it. But as we've talked before too, I'm definitely into the deer hunting, and to have that capability right there, I mean, that's better than most of the cabins I stay at.
Yeah, man, and gosh, we were in Knoxville last weekend, and it was pretty chilly in Knoxville, and we would have to turn the heater down in that thing. It would run you out. So I would say it would be good up there in North Missouri on the Iowa line. If you guys come up next year, you just have to get you an off-road camper.
There you go. Yeah, I mean, that's basically like kind of we've got the I wouldn't call them off-road, but we've got the ice shacks up here. That kind of, I think, along the same premise with the insulation and stuff, and that we've managed to take ice fishing to the next level with it's like a 5-star hotel on the ice. The roads are named and everything else out there. So
yeah, I've seen some of the videos. Big screen TVs, everything. ice shanty or whatever they call them. So
yeah,
pretty neat.
Ice castles. Yeah,
Yeah.
When we were in Minnesota for the Open last year, my buddy that travels with us, he's from Texas, and we were at the gas station in the morning. He's like, "Man, what is that thing?" So I was explaining it to him and tell him how it works. Tow it out, and it drops down, and he's like, "You went right inside, bought raffle tickets for it." I'm like, "Oh, you gonna make another Airbnb on the ice?" He's like, "No, but I want to win that thing, and then I'm gonna sell it." He goes, "That's the coolest thing ever." It was pretty neat. It was definitely pretty neat. So, so obviously you and I have met through the Classic last year through Ark Rods and Falcon Boats.
Yep.
How long have you been with Falcon Boats now?
I've been with Falcon for a little over a year now. First week of January of 24. So I started off as a regional sales manager over here west of the Mississippi, and back in December, my role kind of shifted there, some changes, and I'm now the national sales rep. I have 3 other sales reps working for me at Empire that's representing Falcon, and then my son Jamie, who graduated college last year, and he had spent his whole college career working for a corporate company and decided that's not what he wanted to do. So he's riding with Dad for the next year and absorbing as much as he can about the boat industry.
That's pretty cool. What attracted you to Falcon Boats?
Man, I was with another brand previously, and Tim and Steven and I had become really good friends over the years. And I always kind of had a feeling in my gut if I left where I was at, I would possibly end up there. But I never planned on it ever happening. And then when I found myself looking for a job, the first person who reached out to me was Tim DePriest, and he offered a position there at Falcon, and is a quality product. As you know, the ride in that thing is phenomenal. But the thing that makes Falcon special are the people who stand behind it. We see there's so many good boats on the market, but there's not always that great company standing behind it and great people.
Right.
I took the reps second week of January. I took them to the plant. Let's get them some product knowledge. They're all new to Falcon. Let's meet the people of Falcon. Let's show you the build process, which I feel is pretty special, and just familiarize my guys with this. And when we walk in the door, the first thing they see is Stevens in the plant rebuilding the glue gun for the carpet girl. You don't see that at a large corporate company, right? You don't see the owners out there hands-on every day working in a plant. They put in their sweat equity. They care about this place. Before, I've worked with companies that it was just about the money, the numbers. That's all they cared about. Where at Falcon, they care about the product. They care about the people. Plant managers, God, Opie's been with Tim and them guys for over 20 years.
I love Opie.
Yeah, he's all right. No. Opie's pretty special in a lot of ways.
Yes, he is.
He does a heck of a job running that production floor there, and just little things that he does to make sure that the product's better than the competition is what makes it special. But man, I've had so much fun this last year. I'd say I've had more fun this last year than I've had since, probably 2020, somewhere in that neighborhood.
Sure.
I love the boat business, and it kind of, it got to where it wasn't that fun anymore. And now being back over here with these guys, I'm having fun. I've got a great product. I don't have to apologize for things all the time. Yeah, they're a man-made product. You're going to have something here or there, but the great thing about it is when that happens is those people standing behind that company jump on it immediately and get things taken care of. And that's what I've enjoyed about it is, we have a good product. We can have fun. We can make people's dreams come true and know that 10 years down the road, they're still going to be a happy customer.
Right.
So, that allows us to have fun. We're growing, man. We're, it's been a tough year. This last year was probably the toughest year I've ever seen in the marine industry, but we still grew our footprint through that through that tough time. Yeah, boat sales were down. We weren't building as many and selling as many, but we were growing our footprint of more dealers. And now that we're starting to see the boat industry trying to pick up some, those dealers are coming into play to help us grow. We've got a lot of dealers that we're working with now that are looking at coming on board. I think I was counting yesterday. I think we're working with 13, 14 new dealers.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
Will all of them come on board? No, they won't. But, if we get 75, 80% of those guys on board for a company like Falcon, that's a huge growth for us. So, Empire, we have between four of us, we have 110 years of experience in the business. Scott Scarborough, the Southeast rep. I worked with Scott at Blazer. He was there for 10 years. He's covering the Southeast for us now. Our Midwest rep, the rep that's going to be in your area that you should meet here before long, is David Porthouse. David's been in the business for 34 years. His dad actually owned Champion Boats for 12 years, where he worked and cut his teeth there after college. He's been with companies like Nautic Star, Carolina Skiff. He helped the Icon guys a little bit starting out. So David's got a ton of knowledge, a ton of relationships. And then the other rep in the north is covering the Northeast from Virginia and Kentucky up, is Jay Presswood. I mean, Jay's 30 plus years. He started off detailing boats at a boat dealership, worked his way up to being a general manager of a large boat dealership in Nashville, Tennessee, where he was then offered a job by Brunswick to be the rep for Baja Boats. So he repped for Baja and Brunswick for many years, all the way up to Beneteau French Yachts, right? So a ton of knowledge and relationships. And these guys, when they left the Falcon plant, they were all just pumped up and excited because of the people. Mm-hmm. Said, look, we knew we had a good product, but now we know we have a great company and great people behind it. And they're so excited to help grow Falcon Boats based off of that. So I think at the end of 2025, we're going to look back and Falcon's going to have a completely different look out there. So,
that's cool. That's awesome. And I can attest that too. When I bought my first Falcon, actually, we looked at them in Knoxville in 19 at the Classic. They were there. And I actually proposed to her there because I couldn't get a new boat until she had a diamond ring. So she got a ring. The next couple weeks later, I ordered me a new boat. So I actually had the first 2020 205 out the door. But same thing, I called down to the factory and left a message for Steven. And later that afternoon, he called me back. We had a conversation about boats and stuff like that. There's not too many places this day and age in business where you can call the owner of a business and they will return your call and take 10 minutes of their day to shoot the shit with you.
That's the thing about Falcon is if you have an issue or question and you call the plant, you're going to get Tim or Steven on the phone. If they're busy, they're going to call you back that day. The other thing is I'm not hard to find. My phone's on 24 hours a day. We had a customer the other day that got on Facebook and made a post. And he had a concern. He thought he had a concern, but it wasn't anything to be concerned with. But I sent him my number on Sunday. I'm driving home from Cleveland, Ohio, I believe. But, I told him, to call me, let's tell me what's going on. Let me help you. And so, we get on the phone, and on Sunday, I explained to him he had a little crack back in the bilge of his boat, and he thought, "Oh Lord, I broke a stringer." But what it is the bilge area of the boat is gel coat caps that we put in there. It's nice shiny black. Well, it's all foam injected underneath that. We have to seal that to put the foam in to keep it from squirting out everywhere. So we use they call it a mud, but it's like a radius putty. It's almost like a Bondo on a car that they put in there, and they seal that off to where they can shoot it in. And over time, sometimes in rough water, you get little cracks in that bonding putty. There's nothing structural. It's just a sealant until we get the foam shot in it. And so he was concerned with that, and I explained to him what was going on. I'm not going to lie. I had a few people call and say, "Oh, you should delete that." Not going to delete a post, right? When you delete something like that from the public that's already started seeing it, it gives a bad look. It's a man-made product. If we do have a problem, we're going to stand behind it, right? So it doesn't matter what boat brand you buy. If it's stood behind correctly, you're going to be a lifelong customer.
Yep.
So, you turn the negatives into positives when you do have a negative is the way I look at it, by providing, customer service and standing behind your product. And so that's what we did. We got on the phone Sunday on a drive home, and next thing I know, the guys updated his post and said, update, talk to Falcon Boats today. Yes, on Sunday. This is what's going on with my boat. It's nothing to be concerned with. And there was a customer actually came on there and said, well, Falcon's closed on Sunday. And I responded to him. I said, yeah, but I'm never closed. So, but that's what it takes, to grow a company. That's what it takes. I mean, you've got to be willing to spend the time with your customers. And that's the way I do things. That's the reason I started Empire Sales Group. Let's face it, after our generation in the boat business, there's not much on the rep side coming behind us. But, my son Jackson that you guys met at the Classic, he's 13 years old, and all he thinks about is boats and fishing.
That's good.
He can probably tell you what prop you should be running on your boat. That's how much he pays attention to it. And then my son Jamie, he's not as much of a fisherman. He likes to fish, but he likes the pontoon side of things and the camper side of things. But I started this to where, one day if I ever retire, that when I leave behind, I'm going to leave behind two more that are going to step up and provide customer service and help their customers and their dealers and always be there for them. And I started this because I felt like I needed to do my part to step up and teach my children that this is how we do it. Because if not, we're going to end up with a bunch of, customer service agents on telephones that know nothing about a boat, or reps on telephones that know nothing about a boat. So what's that going to leave for the future? So I started Empire Sales Group this past year for that sole purpose. And, that's what we built it around. If you build your business around customer service, you're going to have a strong business.
Yeah, absolutely. I with doing the opens this year, Bass has got all new rules. So I had 5 12-inch graphs on my boat. So for the last week, I've been recanoodering, rewiring. There are no rig shops around me. So I rig all my own boats, like from the ground up. As far as I get them with the trolling motor and the power poles and the jack plate. I rig all the electronics, all the graphs, all the wire harnesses, everything. You install the batteries, chargers, the whole 9 yards. And so I'm redoing all of mine and back and forth. And I got a new unit. It's new to the market within the last few months from Russell Marine Products. And,
Flex 19.
That's right. If we can have 55 inches, boy, we're going to max it out at 55 inches. That's right where I'm at. So but I had an issue with it and a couple install questions. And the guy that I was dealing with, John there, he gave me his direct line and his direct extension. Call him up. And he's like, yeah, you got to do this, that. Walked me through it. Knew exactly what he was talking about. And anytime I have dealt with that company, I know exactly what they're talking about. So when I need to buy a new graph, I'm on the internet, I'm looking up what they've got available, and I'm calling and I'm taking care of it.
Well, and that's the thing. They are the perfect example of customer service in the marine industry. I know Justin and Chris and John and all those guys, Eddie, I know them all personally. They are a Falcon dealer and they're killing it. They're doing a great job. They were with me with my previous brand. We built a great friendship over the years. And, that's the thing that they do that a lot of people don't do. And I've seen people drive a long distance to them to buy from them just because they spend the extra time with the customer. They answer their questions. They make sure they're happy. And they're always there to support them. And that's, that is the recipe for success. If there's any dealers or any business out there really that you're struggling in and you're trying to figure out how to get to that next level, there's the recipe right there. Provide excellent customer service and support, and you'll build a business that your customers will never leave you because the confidence that they have in you.
Yep, this day and age, with all the telemarketers, with all the automated everything, with all of the computer programs, with that everything, when you can call and you hit number 3 or whatever to get to, and you actually talk to someone that you can communicate with, that you can understand each other, that knows what they're talking. That's they got my business. I'd pay extra for that. This day and age, I'll pay extra for that because I don't want to deal with the other BS.
100%. Now the question is, have you used your Flex 19 yet?
No. So apparently I got the only one
Speaking
so
of customer
far.
service.
Right. That it's not, the touchscreen part doesn't work. So I call him and I'm like, hey, and he's like, all right. So we did some diagnostics together, and I'm like, I hooked it up to 2 different 8600 Garmin's. He's like, really? Yep. He's like, all right, give me a minute. Comes back on, 30 seconds there. He's like, you know what? We don't know what to tell you. He goes, we're gonna send you a new one. Here, we're shipping you a UPS label. Email it, print it, get it to me. Second that hits the thing, tracking, we'll send you a new one. So I should have a new one in a couple of days. So he's like, because we have not had any issues at all, and which is typically my luck. I'm in a hurry. I wait until the last minute. I get the one that doesn't work, but they're taking good care of me. So
when you get to a screen of that size, it's phenomenal, especially on live scoping. As you guys seen earlier, I'm getting old. I got my reader glasses here. I had initially my first live scope was a 10-inch Garmin.
Yep.
And good friends with Spencer Suffield. We would travel some together on the Toyota series, who is, by the way, in a Falcon boat in the top 5 on day 1, the MLS today.
I saw that.
But I would set rub with, and we'd go out and we'd practice all day. We'd come back and we'd eat dinner, and like Lake the Ozarks, it's stacked full of crappie. So we'd all jump in our boats that were at our docks there, and we'd have a little crappie derby there in our cove at night, and then we would clean our crappie and fry crappie the next night. But that's the best way to learn live scope is fishing for crappie. That's how Spencer learned, and he's phenomenal at it. So I'm over there. I'm not worried about the crappie derby. I'm sitting here next to Spencer trying to figure out how is he so good. Teach me something. We're rub rail, and I'm looking at this little 10-inch screen. I'm like, God, man, I suck at this. I don't see my bait like them. And so I didn't realize, the next year I went to a 16-inch Garmin up front. I was, man, I'm getting better at this, And then I went to running 212s, and this year I was like, I'm not going to get to fish much. I'm just going to put a 12 and a 10 on my boat. It'll be fine. Well, I went to Sandusky, Lake Erie, and I'm up there and I'm trying to live scope, and I caught a couple, but man, I just couldn't keep up my bait. I couldn't figure it out, and that's when I realized, wait a minute, that box sends an image to a screen, just like the satellite sends to your TV. On a 13-inch TV, that football player is about this big. And on a 65, he's like this big. So I changed, come home, I changed graphs. I've got an 18-inch graph on the front of my boat. I took Jackson and them for the first tournament, and I was they were throwing a little 65 millimeter little Jackal riser.
Yep.
And I pitched my angle up to like 25 to where you could see it hit the top, the top of the water. And when you can see a 65 millimeter bait, and it's like this big on your screen at 80, 100 feet.
Yep.
I mean, that's impressive. And I was like, so I battled all these years trying to get better at live scope. And I just figured out I'm not that bad at live scope. It's just I was using the wrong equipment. So
right.
The Flex 19 is going to make you a hero.
Yeah, I'm hoping, because I'm not horrible with it. I did pretty good with my 10-inch for a long time. So,
oh, dude, you're going from a 10-inch to a 19. You're just gonna be like, holy crap! I've been fighting this all this time.
I sent a picture of it to my team partner. He's like, holy crap! I'll be able to use it from the back deck. Even he goes.
It truly is a game changer. I mean, it truly is. And Russell and them, like I said, they do great things. So I would highly recommend it to anybody.
Yeah. Well, and like I talked to him, my first question, because the MDT's been around for a few years now, right? And the Flex is fairly new. And I don't know how I found it, why I found it. It popped up here a couple months ago. I'm like, all right. The first thing that caught my mind is like, all right, okay, that puts me not at 54, that puts me at 55 inches. I'm like, go big or go home, right? So I called the guy. I'm like, hey, why am I buying your unit versus this unit? And he goes, XYZ. This is why we designed it to do this, and this, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, all right. I said, it's going to be about a before I order one, but I said, I'm assuming you get commission. He goes, yeah, I'll email you my direct number. I said, okay, cool. A week later, I call him up. I said, dude, I'm ready to rock and roll. He says, let's get you taken care of.
Yep. Yep. They're, like I said, awesome guys. And like I said, they're killing it with Falcon already. I think they got the first boat late July. I'd have to look back, but somewhere around 10 or 11 boats. And out of the 10 or 11, they got 6 or 7 sold and closing another deal out next week with the guy that's been talking to him for a few months. So they've got a goal. They want to be Falcon Dealer of the Year next year, and they're turning it on. So
I like it.
It's going to be an interesting year for a few dealers because we've got a few guys that are just going for, trying to sell as many as they can sell and be Dealer of the Year. And it's I think there's 3 of them out there that are in a neck and neck battle. So it's
Nice.
going to be a lot of fun.
Heck yeah, that's cool. That's cool. So now, obviously, through the classic, also with you were with Louis with Ark.
Yep.
Now, is that part of your Empire sales group as well?
No, that's a Chris deal. Louis started out Louis in 2019. I was the first sales rep that Louis had ever hired. I was introduced to Louis by Wes Logan, good friend of mine, and he was telling me how the rods are legit, but man, Louis is the greatest guy in the industry. And I was like, well, let me talk to him, and I spent 2 hours talking to Louis, and I'm like, man, this dude's awesome. I want to help him, right? And so I went to work with Louis and them in 2019. It was really started because my wife told me, she said, I don't care what you fish, but it's kind of expensive. Can you find somebody to pay for it? So I took a job repping for Louis, right? I remember I got my first commission check. She said, well, that's going to be some nice extra money. And I was like, oh, no. You told me to find somebody to pay for my fishing. You didn't say I couldn't work for somebody to pay for my fishing. So, I spent 14 years in NASCAR. I learned to live my life in the gray. So if you give me black and white, I'm going to ride right there in that gray area. Okay. So I've been with Louis since 2019. I truly believe that Louis is one of the greatest men in the industry. He's like family. I don't think I could ever quit working for Louis just because I think so much of him, his products are phenomenal. One thing about Louis is he doesn't believe in just copying something out there. Louis' philosophy is if he can't make it better, then why should he build it? Because we already have that on the market. If I can't do something better, then we don't need another one. And I really wish that more companies went down that road. We'd probably have a little more innovation in the industry. We have a lot of, I'm going to copy this bait and change the eyes and change the, the color schemes, or, make a little line here and call it something different, but it's the same thing. Louis actually, hands-on designs everything. Just like, the reinforcer rod and the Invoker Tour rod. Those are carbon nano blank. He's the only one that has it. He designed the machine to make it. He designed the whole entire, the technology. He has the patents on it. Louis owns it all, and it's basically.
I did not know that.
Yeah, it's basically a nano tube in between layers of carbon fiber, so it allows it to be lighter, stronger, and more sensitive. But Louis, he created that all. Louis just, his mind works different than most people. He is extremely intelligent. He loves to fish. He loves the outdoor world. Took him gator hunting and hog hunting a couple years ago, and that was pretty awesome. Louis killed him a 10-foot gator.
Nice.
But he works really hard, and he always is looking for the next big thing, the next advantage. And so, there's things coming that, man, I'm excited. I'm waiting on him to get here. He's working on stuff he's usually a year or two out on product on stuff that he's working on.
Sure.
So
I was pretty excited to see his new couple lines of ice rods. I didn't hear anything of that coming down the pipeline, and I was ordering my stuff for the season. I'm like, wait a minute, did I read that right? And I go back on. I'm like, oh, okay. So I got a dozen of them, and I got the medium lights and the ultra lights and the cores, and I've been giving them to all my buddies. I'm like, here, tell me what you think of this. Tell me what you think of this. Handing them out left and right because I'm pretty excited about those.
Did you see the new Lancer Tour W?
No, I didn't. Is that the ice rod too?
That's the walleye rod.
That's the walleye rod.
Matter of fact, about an hour ago, one of my buddies texted me. He had ordered one, and he's like, "Man, this thing's nice. I really like it." But yeah, check out the Lancer Tour W. It's the new walleye series.
That's all we need for Ryan.
There you go. Okay. Heck yeah. Oh, okay. I got it. Yeah. Very cool. Nice.
In my defense, I had actually seen Ark's post about the ice fishing rods and didn't even think anything of it to tell him. So when he said something, I was like, oops, I knew about it and didn't say anything.
She didn't want you to buy any.
Exactly.
See how that worked?
Exactly.
There's no time for ice fishing.
The sad part is I got a dozen of them. I haven't even used one yet. I think I got one left. I've given them all away to all my buddies.
Busy to work.
Everybody else, yeah, I've been going. You know, I didn't. My season didn't even end until the second week in November last year. I parked the boat. I just started looking at my boat a week ago, and I leave next week Friday. And of course, I'm re-rigging everything, redoing everything. Been working 7 days a week, getting a couple projects closed out. So,
well, my boat that I got in June has 21.5 hours on it, and it has a 20 to 30,000 miles on it.
You've been everywhere with it.
I took it through New York City, man. You know?
Did you really?
Yeah, down through the Bronx, across Georgia Washington Bridge, through Jersey. I got a lot of attention.
Oh,
So, but have you checked out the new the West Logan rods?
I have not yet. I saw all those. Yeah, I was watching not too long ago, maybe 3 weeks ago. He had a video discussing his rods and what he designed them for and this and that. So.
Wes and Louie worked on those rods for about 2 years, and it's based off the same blank as the Invoker Tour, but it's not a sanded blank, it's a painted blank, and the actions in that rod are different from the actions in the Invoker Tour, and I absolutely love it. I mean, it is 100% legit for $159. You got to get one. I mean, they're phenomenal.
Yeah, because I don't even know. I just got my order in. I've been buying since. Well, I found Ark at the Classic in 2019. So we were doing whatever, and
that was when they had that small little booth.
Yeah, that small little booth, and I walked up there, and their rods were $150, and it was buy one get one.
Yep.
And I'm like, really? They're like, yeah, it's a show special. I'm looking at the rods, and I'm touching them. I'm like,
seems cheap.
Really?
Yep.
Really?
Was that on the Sniper series? Is that what that was?
No, it was Invokers. It was Invokers, the original Invokers.
Oh yeah, the original Invokers. Yep.
And I'm like, well, I said, cripes, so I bought. I think I came out of there with
we left with a lot.
Like 18. I'm like, I don't mean to be that guy, but if $75 is still a fair amount of money. But I'm like, if they suck, I'm not out a whole heck of a lot. I spent a lot more on my other rods.
Yeah.
And then it was probably 20, 21, 22, somewhere in there. I wound up jumping on pro staff with Ark. At that point in time, I owned 38 of them that I had purchased with my own money for full price. And I probably now have over 100. And that's literally all that's it. I love them. Every one of them. Yep. And then last year, 2 years ago with the reels.
Switched everything over.
Yeah. It's a deadly combination.
Yes, it is. I had, I had a something. Then last year when we came out the Invoker Tours, I removed majority of my Invoker Pros from the shop, and they got in the hands of new owners now and started slowly replacing them. But I haven't got to fish, so I don't know. I think I probably only have about 40 rods in the garage now, and
what happened?
We lost the sound.
Are you there?
Oh, there he is. Maybe. Oh, nope.
Yeah, a lot of them still have Yeah, somebody tried to call in. Am I here?
Oh, yeah, I got you.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, somebody called in and interrupted, but I've got most of my rods are still in the plastic they come in because I've been on the road so much this year that I just haven't got to fish. but Jackson, my youngest son, and Jamie both got to play with the. Actually, Jackson fished his first tournament back in September. He's junior high now, and he fished his first tournament, and he threw West Logan rod all day long. He and his partner. First tournament, they finished fourth, got big bass.
Oh, wow.
Cashed a check, and they didn't pay any of their entry fee or gas back. I'm still working on getting that out of them.
Good luck with that one.
Their head's about this big, they first one ever in their life, and they show up and they cash a check, and I'm like, don't get used to it. It doesn't happen like that every time. So, but the West Logan rod is just absolutely a phenomenal rod. Like I said, I used it a little bit pre-fishing for the boys, and fell in love with it. It's phenomenal.
I'll definitely have to check that one out too. I was talking last year at the Open in La Crosse up here. Happened to be tied up next to Randall Clark for a bit there and was talking over his jig. And I'm like, man, I got to get me someone. He's like, oh, no, I got you. Goes over in his box, his boat. He goes, here you go. He goes, now bite this color here. I said, oh, I know they will. But yeah, that's a pretty slick little jig right there. I like that one a lot.
Yeah, I've got some of them. One day I'll get to use them, but I get to show them off a lot. But one day I'll get to use them. But that's the thing is, about Louis' jigs. I mean, Randall's jig, Wes's jig, the Z swimmer. What a lot of people don't realize is they're all hand tied, right? Each individual color is an individual hand tie. You don't get that at a production jig anywhere else, right? If you pull out a chartreuse green pumpkin jig and you have 5 of them, the chartreuse is going to be on the exact same side of the jig every single time. It has our hook in it, the Ark hook, which is manufactured for us to our specs in the Gamakatsu Hayabusa plant. It's NRG coated. The Z Swimmer has a 5/0 hook that's got a little bit wider gap and a little bit longer shank. Spencer Sheffield said it's the best swim jig he's ever thrown. He absolutely loves it. If they grab that thing, they're not coming off of it. There's a few things about that head. A friend of mine used to hand tie jigs. He did what they called a double tie, and it made the skirt flare to where when you're pulsing that rod tip, the skirt's this. Yep. So I took to Louis and I showed him the double tie when he was starting to design that jig. I said, you've got to make the swim jig do this. So he went overseas for a few months. He come back and he goes, we couldn't do that tie in production because we're doing each individual color a separate tie, and there's no way we could do a double tie because some of them have 7 different ties on them. He said, I was like, oh, that's not good. He goes, but what I did was I designed the head to when they tie it, it makes the jig do that automatically. And I was like, okay. And if you hold one of them jigs up, it does, it has that crown to it. And when you pulse that thing, instead of it just laying down flat when you're coming through the water, that thing is actually, pulsing. You go to Alabama and you don't, twitch your jig when you're swimming it, you're not going to get a bite.
Right.
So,
right.
But, just things like that Louis does. And, he takes input from the entire team and puts it with what he's already thinking. And that's how he designs such a good product. It's not just, hey, look, I made this bait, you got to throw it. It's, hey, what do you think? I think you need to change this, or, if you did this, it would make it better. And he'll keep at it until it's perfect. So that's what makes him so successful. We got some stuff coming this year, some stuff that I was actually blessed to put a little bit of input in on, and I can't wait to get my hands on it. It's going to be some really cool stuff. So be watching Ark, right around that ICAST time.
Nice.
So
nice.
Hopefully we'll have several new cool products out.
Very cool. Are you guys going to have a Ark booth at the Classic?
We're not going to have an Ark booth at the Classic. I was going to actually do one this year for Louis, but Bass moved to, last time we were in Dallas, I think everybody was in tents and horse stables. This time it's actually in a building, but the building's almost 4 miles away from weigh-in. And, everybody gets in line for weigh-in early. They want to get good seats for the weigh-in. Well, you can't really walk that because of the freeway. So you're going to have to You either drive from one building to the other and try to find parking in downtown Dallas, or you're going to have to Uber or shuttle. So I felt like that people were going to leave the expo a little bit early every day to get over for weigh-in. So I chose not to do the booth because I felt like we're only going to get 3 to 4 hours a day to be with customers. So we may have one of the distributors may do it out there. So I'm sure somebody's going to have the product. It's just not going to be Ark only booth run by Ark. So same thing with Falcon. I think Tim and Steven and Lisa and myself and we'll be there in the area doing stuff, but we're not going to have a booth at the Classic this year either. So
are you we start next Friday? Next weekend, we are going to Texas for the first open or whatever. You're not going to be anywhere near Sam Rayburn that weekend,
I don't know. I'd check my calendar.
Let me know if I need to. So when we were down there in 2020, I fished my second open ever was at Rayburn. I made top 12 back then, right? So I made the final day. Fast forward, end of the final day, a young man comes up to me and asks my autograph. First guy ever, right? Well, we've become great friends. He's on the junior fishing team. We talk with him he's 12. And we talk with him. We talk to his dad all the time. His dad sold the pontoon boat. They got a bass boat. He's fishing the junior bass master stuff. The last time we were down there in 23 was it? Anyways, when I left, he had 4 or 5 rods and a whole tackle box full of stuff, and now he only throws Ark rods and reels. So if you're in the area, I need to introduce you to him. He's definitely a guy you need to put on your radar for the future. He's a good kid.
Absolutely. When are you guys going to be down there?
We head there on the 8th.
So we'll be there like the Saturday the 9th.
So we'll be there the 8th through the 15th.
8th to the 15th.
I've got to make a trip down south of there with the Armada pontoon boat to see a dealer. So I may just see if we can make that happen. Depends on when I get. I'll be in anywhere from St. Louis to the central Missouri area earlier that week. If I get everything done, I may make a trip down that way.
Well, and I know he is taking his days off of school on tournament days, and his dad and him are going to be my camera boat so that I can be on the water on tournament days to take photos of him. So I have a camera boat. That's
awesome. That's awesome. Sound like good people.
Oh yeah, great people, great, awesome people. Dad's 100% involved with it, and they got him a coach last year for the junior tournaments because he's like he doesn't want to listen to me, and I don't know that much about bass fishing, so they got him a coach, and they had a couple pretty good finishes, which really boosted their confidence. So
now he fishes with the growers.
Yep, they now fish with his brother.
Well, yeah, and I that's the way. My oldest son, Jamie, he would not listen. I tried to teach him how to throw a bait caster. He wouldn't listen. And I took him on a guided trip to Lake Fork when he was, I don't know, he's about 11, I believe. And a guy I know down there is a guide, James Caldemeyer. Jamie brings his spinning rod, and he's got braid on it, for those big fish down there. And he gets out of the truck that morning with the spinning rod, and James looked at him and said, "You can just go ahead and put your little blankie back in the truck." And he's like, Jamie looks at him funny. He goes, "You're not putting that spinning rod in my boat." He said, "But I can't throw a bait caster." He said, "Well, I guess you're going to learn today." And I was like, yes, somebody's going to make him listen. And, James Caldemeyer taught him how to throw a bait caster when he was 11 years old. He wouldn't listen to me, but, he got pretty good at it. He actually, I remember he caught his first 5-pound plus bass off bed that day sight fishing and, had a great time, but he did it all day long with the bait caster.
I still won't.
So sometimes
I won't.
Yeah, I tried to teach my wife, and after $175 of fluorocarbon and another $75 in baits, I went, you're right. Just use the spinning rod.
You need it there because it ruined your happy place.
100%. So sometimes kids don't listen to parents very easy. So it is good to sometimes get somebody else involved that maybe they'll look up to and listen to, and
Oh, but you
and
got
get them
Lexi to do
those.
it, didn't you?
No,
You haven't got Lexi
she
to do
won't
it?
do a baitcaster. No, she's basically like you. She
She's
wants to,
yeah.
but she's too timid.
My daughter
Yeah.
likes to try to go fishing, and she'll usually listen to him, but
Well, Jackson, Jackson learned very quickly. He listened to me. He learned very quickly. He started out in the backyard casting bait caster, and then when the weather's nice, if you're looking for him, you can usually find him standing on the deck, and he's got a little cornhole board out in the yard, and he's standing up there flipping.
Nice.
So he's dedicated.
That's nice. I like it. That's what I do. I did quite a fair amount of that too in the wintertime in the shop because there wasn't anything else to do.
That's what we used to do. That's how I got pretty decent at flipping. Is all of us hanging out in the shop because it was cold and rainy outside, and nobody wanted to go fishing, so we'd have flipping contests in the shop.
So if you're on the road that many days out of the year, are you fishing any tournaments anymore then?
I haven't fished a Toyota series since April of 2023. This year, going through the, kind of starting over on the career path a little bit. Didn't have time. I thought that I was going to do it this year. Actually, when I seen the Toyota schedule for the Plains division, I've been chomping at the bit, but I'm just not going to have the time. I mean, and it makes me it makes me upset because the Toyota this year is like the 1st of March, Lake of the Ozarks, and that place owes me one that time of year. The last time I was there, I was the 21st on day 1 and just completely did not listen to myself on day 2, and it cost me. My buddy listened and he cashed a check on day 2 coming back, but you don't listen to yourself. So I kind of like to have a do-over there. Kentucky Lake, God, I got hours and miles on that place. I said best friends Jason Lambert and another guy's like my brother. He passed away back in early December from cancer. He was he was a legend of Kentucky Lake, and so I've gotten to learn a lot about Kentucky Lake from what I feel like 2 of the best that's ever done it there. And so Kentucky Lake would be a fun one to do. And then they go back in the fall for Lake of the Ozarks, and it's going to be a grind. And luckily, there's an old guy there I spend a lot of time with. They call him the legend. His name's Bill Davenport. If you ever see a Chomper's jig that says Davenport Special on it, that's Bill Davenport. I believe he's won a little over $1 million in his career on Lake of the Ozarks.
Wow.
So I've spent a lot of time on that lake and Kentucky Lake. They're 2 of my favorites, and I'm just like, man, I couldn't ask for a better schedule, but I got to work. So maybe next year we'll have this thing on cruise control where she needs to be at, and we can get back to fishing. I definitely miss it. I love doing, that Toyota Series Open type tournament. A lot of good people there.
Yeah.
Less drama than you find in some of the local stuff. So you can go out and just have a good time. Most people are pretty stand up, awesome people that you meet. I've made a lot of friends doing it, and I miss doing it. So hopefully next year that we'll be able to go back out there and have some fun again doing it. But for right now, we just coming off this year, we just came off of with this economy. First concentration is we've got to get this thing built up again and chugging. So
I gotcha. Yeah, it's unfortunately sometimes adulting gets in the way. I would love to. I was talking with a buddy of mine that's on the Elite Series, and he was leaving. And the way the schedule is all laid out, he was going to practice in the Florida area to start for like a week in different areas, and then he was on the road for 7 weeks. And I'm like, that's. I mean, it's hard to be away from family and stuff like that, but it's not the greatest weather up here. Well, today was 52 and sunny, so it's really nice today. But head south and go fishing for several weeks in a row, I'm in. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, I've been on the road. See, we left on the 2nd, and I got back 2 days ago. And that's a pretty hard run. I can't imagine 7 weeks, but if you're throwing in fishing, it gets a little bit easier.
Right.
So So, but no, we're gonna do some fun fishing this year. But hopefully, we'll get back to tournaments next year and be able to go out there and have the fun. I love the competition. 14 years in NASCAR as a pit crew member, and so I've competed all of my life. And I get a little, I'll make a competition out of anything.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
people like, we get in a competition selling boats. You may not even know you're in the competition, but there's a competition, right? So we'll find something to compete at, and then we get through 2025, and hopefully it looks like consumer confidence is actually coming back really quickly after our election, and hopefully this thing picks back up to where it needs to be pretty quick, and we can all start enjoying life again.
Absolutely.
Every time he says NASCAR, I get way too excited.
Oh yeah, she's over here giddy as a schoolgirl every time you mention NASCAR.
Yeah, well,
Jealous.
it was fun. I did it in the good years, 97 through 2010. Those were the best years. It was a true blessing. I learned a lot in life. It made me who I am. The dedication and hard work and drive that I have now is all based off of that, because you had to put the race team was number one thing in your life.
Right.
So, it taught me a lot, and we had a whole lot of fun back then. It's different to me now. I don't even watch it. I walked in a restaurant somewhere last year, I think, and I looked up and they had a screen on it. It's a truck series, and it said intermission. And I called my buddy. I was like, "What the hell's an intermission?" And he's like, "What are you talking about?" I said, "The truck series." He goes, "Oh yeah, they have intermissions now." I was like, "What?" He said, "Yeah, and the Cup Series has one lug nut." And I'm like, "Oh my God!"
Yeah.
We were at a Bobby Hamilton reunion, Bobby Hamilton Racing reunion year before last. We didn't get to make it this year, but we started year before last. The team all gets together, has a barbecue once a year now, and we were there for that. And one of the guys that's still in it, he's like, "Oh man, these guys nowadays are just absolute beasts. You guys couldn't hang with them." And we're like, "They got one lug nut. We had 20." I mean, they have 4. We had 5 on each wheel, and you're talking about how great they are. I think the fastest one we ever did was like 13.78. But we were steadily 15-second pit stops, and we had 20 lug nuts. We didn't have an intermission, and you want to talk about how good they are. Now, I'm almost 50. There's no way I could do it now. I mean, I may could do one stop, but you're going to give me oxygen at the end of it. But watching this stuff now, seeing what they're going through. I took the kids, actually. We went to Daytona this year for their summer vacation, and we took them to Daytona, to the museum there, and I was showing them the differences between the cars now and the cars when we built them.
Right.
And it's just crazy on how much has changed. So to me, it's not what it was.
No, it's definitely not. It's not.
She listens 24/7 NASCAR in the car, and she's like, "You wouldn't believe what they were discussing." And I said, "Honey," only NASCAR people that are that dedicated can talk about nothing 24 hours a day more than fishermen.
It's about the same.
NASCAR radio is no different than you listening to a fishing podcast in the truck. It's the same thing.
Yeah, but with the podcast, there's a beginning, a middle, and an end. It's not.
But see, with the podcast though, you actually have an opportunity to learn something.
Yes.
Something valuable that you could use on the water. What the new technique is, etc. Nowadays in NASCAR, the only thing you hear is what the drama is. I mean, so.
Oh, I heard all about the signing of the paperwork for this, but then they're going to sue them for that. And they don't want to go with that. And I'm like, "Honey, she gets this right here. This means 2 things. If it's at work, that means wrap it up. We're done for the day. Other means it means whoop-de-doo."
So, back in the day, it was a really cool sport, but I just think they tried to get too politically correct in the sport, and it's just changed it. So us old school guys are just not huge fans of that. But it was a cool experience. I think there's a file cabinet around here somewhere that's got stack upon stack of 4x6 pit stop pictures that they used to take of us. But there's one picture that hangs in my boat garage with all my boat pictures, and that's a victory lane with Bobby Hamilton at Homestead in 2000. I think 2003. Yeah. So that Bobby was a special boss. So he was a guy that was he was your buddy. He was family, and so that one hangs out there. I still have a fire suit hanging in the closet from 2005, I think, somewhere around there. A Dodge Motorsports fire suit, and every now and then I'll run across a T-shirt or a jacket from Toyota Racing Development or something. I was like, I found a Victory Lane hat the other day from an Ark race with Team Red Bull, and so I run across stuff occasionally, and I think back about the fun times and the memories. But I was 35 when I got out. It was time to get out. The body was getting old.
It's probably not something you do much past that. I'm sure your body can't handle it. It looks like it's got to be hard.
Yeah, it's hard on it. Weather changes, I feel it, but hey, we found something else to love and enjoy. So fishing and boats. So
there you go. Yeah, we've actually got with Matt Miller Power Sports.
Yep.
So we've been in contact with him, and we've got our local fishing expo coming up here end of February, and asked me if I come up and work that for him because they're gonna have the Falcon Boats there. And then the other day he goes, you know what? I've got this such and such boat ordered, but I don't think I'm gonna have it in time. He goes, would you be willing to bring your boat up there? And I said, yeah. I said, it's going to need a bath. Oh, no, we'll take care of that. I said, well, why don't you understand it really needs a bath like that? I said, yeah, absolutely. So we're getting the wrap touched up and stuff, and I'm going to give a presentation.
He's got 2 boats now. In stock. Yep. So, but yeah, he's you're talking about a great guy, man. Matt is just awesome people. I've enjoyed the time I've gotten to work with him. My rep David Porthouse, I believe, will be at the show. I was originally going to be there, but I've got David now that's working that area, so I get a break that weekend. You're also going to get to meet. Yep, Brian Harding, friend of mine, pro staff guy from the UP. He's got a 21 Predator. Brian's coming down. He's this little short guy. It's about 6'5", 6'6", just maybe 6'7". He's just a giant. But Brian's a great guy. Gosh, I started working on Brian with the boat in 2018, and we finally got him in a Predator this last spring, and he absolutely loves it. And he's a great ambassador for our brand up there, and he's going to come down and help out at that show. Now I will be at the Grand Rapids, Michigan show in March, if you guys are around. We'll be over there March the 12th through the 16th.
You have to ask my secretary. I know what I'm doing tomorrow morning. On my way to work, I'm getting a cup of coffee, and I got to stop at Lumberyard, and then I don't plan any further than that.
That is the weekend before the Classic.
Yes, it is. Yep, the weekend before the Classic. So, but
usually by 6:45, 6:50, my phone's ringing, and whatever I plan to do, I already got to do something different, so I don't even.
Well, I put everything in a calendar because I can't keep up with it if I don't. And then my wife's like, well, what are you doing? I'm like, look at my calendar. She goes, I can't see it. So when we built the new website for Empire, in the back side of the system, we have a CRM system where we can keep up with all of our notes. And I made sure that on the main page, there's a calendar. And it's public. She can see it. And she asked me last night, hey, what do you have going on? I said, I don't know. Look at the calendar. She's like, I'm like, look at the calendar. I have no idea what I'm doing. It's week to week. I'm like, oh yeah, next week's that. I usually know I'm going somewhere when I get the message reminder from the Holiday Inn that this is where you're staying. So, but hey, it's 2025 is looking good. So
good. That's good to hear. I like encouragement. I like victory stories. I like profitable seasons. That's good. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
We brought Armada Pontoons to the U.S. By the way, it's the #1 Canadian-owned manufacturer, and man, it's already taken off good as well. So just phenomenal, great price point boats they're just built well. So they're taking off well here in the U.S. So that tells me that economy's coming back, man. The confidence is coming back. So,
you got any Falcon boat dealers outside of the United States?
Well, there is one in Japan. They haven't done anything in a little while, but funny thing is Stephen and I were talking about that today, because we do have some possibilities outside the U.S. That we are working on. So.
Okay. Nice.
So.
Nice. What crazy new wild thing did they come up with for any changes to the 2025 models?
No, 2025, other than bringing out the 18 Freedom, price point 18 footer, a sub $45,000 boat, just to hit that, a lot of people are buying their kids' boats for high school fishing, and not everybody can spend $100,000 on a boat, but you can get a new boat with a warranty at a reasonable price. And then your weekend angler, he doesn't have to have all the 21 foot, 250 horsepower with power poles hanging off of it and everything else. They just want to go fishing, and they want something, reliable and new. And so, we really worked on that 185 and turned into an 18 Freedom. And it's just, you get a lot of boat for a great value. So that was the big thing for 25. I know 26, we've got some things we're working on outside of the normal a little bit. Whether they'll be done in time for 26, I'm not sure. It may be something that's a later release. Just, some really cool things. So
it's good. It's good to get them in, and like you said, you get a customer happy with that entry boat when they're able to step up to the big leagues, or a 20 or 21 footer. I tell people that all the time. I'm like, oh, that boat's so awesome. Well, I've only got this. I said, does it float? He says, yeah. I said, can you put it on the water and go fishing? And they said, yeah. So that's all you need. I said, when I started fishing with my dad, we had a 14-foot flat bottom. We turned upside down in the back of his truck. We borrowed the neighbor's 9.9. And then we graduated to a 1960 16-foot Alumacraft with a 1962 15-horse Sea King. Man, we bombed all over the countryside in that thing. And then my dad bought a new boat, and that one, I was in high school, and that one was kind of technically mine. I took a torch to it, cut everything out of it, took it to the weld shop, had it all welded up, watertight, put a live wall and a front deck in it and a floor in it, and a battery in the back, and I had a little bow mount put on it for a trolling motor, and we took that thing to Canada. Man, we went everywhere in that boat.
Man, my grandfather and I, we had a 14-foot aluminum boat, and we paddled about everywhere we went starting out. And then the first boat I bought was an old tri-hull ski boat, back-to-back seating.
Yeah.
Went home, jerked them flipped up cushions out of the front, bolted me a deck down to the front, mounted me a trolling motor on this thing, and I made me a fishing boat out of it, and then just kept graduating up from there, and so as long as you have something that you're happy with and you can go fishing, enjoy what you've got. We don't have to, to go fishing, you don't have to have the big loaded out tournament boat. They're nice and we enjoy them, and it's really a cool thing to have, but you don't have to have it. But my dad's 74. Dad can't handle a 20-foot boat by himself. He just wants to go fishing, right?
Yeah.
So that 18-foot boat's got a big wide deck on it for an 18-footer, 150 horsepower motor. A little boat will run. It'll run 60 mile an hour.
Absolutely.
So, for somebody like Dad, that's the perfect boat. Or for, the guy buying his first new boat, you don't have to go all out. Get in it, make sure that's what you like before you go all out, right?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's been a hit for us this year, actually. Had two dealers sell one of them today, each one of them. So, so just a great value. But I guess, like I said, next year is going to be some interesting stuff we're working on. We'll see if that pans out, and We may have some new stuff coming. But other than that, we're just going to keep building quality boats. Like I said, best ride on the water. Quality's there.
Hands down. Driest ride.
So, look, and and I remember before I got in one, I heard, oh man, they ride great, but they're not very fast. And mine moves pretty good. In the summer heat, 76. I run it one time when it cooled off just to see. I've got a flashed ECU I play with every now and then, and I had a day just to go have a little fun. I threw the flashed ECU on it, went out there and made like 2 runs and ran like 80.7 just right out of the gate, and thought, man, do a little propping and playing with this thing. We can really have some fun. But easy boat to drive. The whole shot didn't matter if it's stock or flash. 3-second whole shot. Oh, yeah. And you run you run mid 70s on a 99-inch beam boat. I mean the front deck carpet to carpet on that thing is 84 inches wide.
I can do a snowman on make snow angels on the front deck, and I'm 6'5". Yeah,
I'll say you're a little guy. Well, and that's the thing. It's 69 inches at the seat post. So when Jackson and them had their first tournament, they're 13, so I still have to run the trolling motor, and so I'm standing on the trolling motor, and Jack is, he's a little chunky guy. He's he's actually grown since you guys seen him like a foot.
Oh wow!
But I looked at him earlier and I was like, Jesus, you're about to pass me, kid. But he's, I don't know, 5'6", 176 pounds. Cousins, 140 pounds. They're standing on each side of me casting all day long. 13-year-olds standing beside me casting all day long while I'm running the trolling motor, and never one time were they in each other's way or did they have any issues, because that boat is so big on that front deck.
It is. It's amazing. It's stable. If you get if your team partner, or if you get a co-angler situation and they're very like a freaking Mexican jumping bean in the back of the boat. Every time they shift, you don't have to shift with them. You know what I mean? You don't even know they're back there anymore. So
I've been there.
When, you both one had to fish out this side, one had to fish out that side, so the boat didn't list so far over.
Yeah, you're standing on the edge flipping, and all of a sudden, the guy walks to the same side of the boat as you, and you almost flip in. Yeah, you don't have to worry about that, but the things that they do on this boat that a lot of people don't realize is most bass boats have 2 stringers in them, or most boats, period. The 20 and 21 footers have a triple stringer system in it. It's a fiberglass grid system, so it makes the boat really strong. But they also put a fiberglass false floor in there, right? And they inject between the stringers with foam. So it's encapsulated. It's basically a built-in liner boat. So the whole boat is encapsulated, so there's no drain tubes going through your stringers. It's full of foam, so you get a quiet, soft ride. The boat's very strong, the hull is, due to having a triple stringer system. If you're on Lake Erie and you take one over the bow, it doesn't get stuck in your stringers. It goes straight to the back of the boat. Just things that they do to build a better quality boat. So, and I'm
light too. Their dry weight. The dry weight's considerably lighter than a lot of other boats at that length.
Yeah, I mean, a 20 footer's 18 and some change. A 21, I think, is 1975. But when you walk up to the boat and you're like, wow, I can't believe this boat. Some of the other brands that are not quite as big as ours are, like 2,465 pounds, and they're running 68. We're running 75. Well, while we're running 75, it's pretty easy.
Right.
I was always taught 100 pounds equals a mile per hour.
Yep.
So, that's why we can run those speeds that we are running and still have, that big platform that we have. But the way the hull's designed and the way it's built still gives you that smooth, dry ride. Yeah. I've got a guy that's been running one on Lake Erie all year, and he, run 2 other brands in the past that are known to be great rides, and he says best riding boat he's ever run. He ran 20 miles in 4 footers, and he got there and he sat down and he looked at his partner and said, "Did you get wet?" He said, Yeah, I had one little drop hit me right here. And so I mean, I don't know what more what much more you can ask for out of that. You not get beat up and not get wet. So
I've always told everybody, like, if you need to not know how to drive a bass boat in order to stuff a wave on one of those. I mean, I can't tell you. I mean, I've been in some serious, sixes plus in them, and it'll, you're up and over and this and that, and it'll fill it right up to that rub rail, and it curls right out. It does not.
Yeah.
Very rarely do you get any on the deck. I mean, it's amazing.
That's really what Spencer Suffolk and I were talking. Hell, he absolutely loves his boat. He loves it so much that I don't know, he's probably pushing 60 hours on it already, and he got it in October. And it's been at the wrap shop for the last few weeks. But he loves it so much. He called me coming back from my MLF event, and he's like, man, I can't wait to get home. It's like, I want to get in my boat and go fishing. He said, I just freaking love that thing, man. I want to be in it. And one of the things he's talking about is how it carries the nose. And he's like, man, I don't have to worry about stuffing a wave, right? He said that thing, the way it carries the nose, is just absolutely amazing.
Yep. No, I don't. I think, honestly, and you and I have had this conversation, my one and only complaint, and it's not even about the boat, is, and I think you guys are working on that, potentially a different cover for the boat, which is hard because everybody puts who knows what on their graphs. But yeah, that's about my only complaint.
It is hard, and the cover's decent, right? I think.
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
My complaint with the cover is the straps on it, right? Yeah. But how many boats out there can you go buy today that they actually give you the cover, right?
It's true.
You look at all the other manufacturers, and I've worked with them. You're spending $1,000, $1,200, $1,500 for that cover. So one thing that we've discussed is maybe possibly bringing a premium cover, and that if you want that premium cover, then this is how much it costs, right?
There you go.
Because you can't just give a $1,500 cover away with every boat, right?
No.
So, Stephen and I, we talked about that a little bit, and hopefully that's something we can put together. There's no guarantee because those cover companies want so much up front. I designed one with Justin Russell and them for a previous manufacturer, and it was going to cost us $95,000 per boat model just to get started. I mean, and we built this amazing cover, and then we got to that point, and it's like, oh my God. Okay, back up.
Right.
You're talking about 21-foot single console, 21-foot dual console, 20-foot single console, 20-foot dual console, for every single model, it was going to cost $95,000. So that's things that, most customers don't understand. Well, why do you not have this cover? Well, because I can't afford to spend $500,000 just to get you a custom cover.
Sure.
But we have some things. Yeah, we have some things, some possibilities out there. Some stuff people work with in the past. We may can do something there in the future. We're talking about it, and like I told Steven, I said, look, if that guy wants that premium cover, then he's okay paying $1,500, $1,200, whatever it is that it takes to get that premium cover, because he's gonna, most likely be a diehard, tournament guy or someone who travels a lot, and he wants that cover. And the thing is dual graphs and stuff, it's hard to get around that. But if each cover comes with X amount of material, and you can take it to your local guy if you're running duals at the at the console and say, hey, I need this cover to fit this, here's the material, then he can cut and adjust the cover to fit your graphs, right? Yeah. So that's something we've talked about, because it's just so complicated, with having multiple graphs. Different options. So that's something we're looking for in the future. Are we able to put it together? We don't know yet, but it's just one of many things that we're looking at and we've talked about.
Very cool. Yeah, I found, like you said, I did find a guy around the house here that did modify mine, did a pretty decent job on it. It's just one of those things you don't want to turn into a giant parachute when I put 30,000 miles a year on my truck pulling the boat. I mean, that's all that truck does.
Is that it?
There's only 4
30,000.
tournaments this year.
You're a rookie, man. Jesus.
I'm part-timer, what can I say?
I got my Google Drive report last year, and I like fell out of my chair. It said when you went around the world 3 times. I drove 64,000, I think 800 something miles, and I flew 10,400 miles last year.
Christ.
So yeah, 35,000, man. That would be awesome.
That's just in the fishing truck. If you want to count around town in the work truck, that's 3 tanks of gas a week. So
yeah.
you can add that to it, so.
All right, you got a little excuse.
Yeah, I'm a little higher, but yeah, I'm not touching around the world 3 times for sure. So.
Well, but
you got anything else over there, NASCAR lady?
No.
No, that's it. That's the only small NASCAR part you're going to talk to him about.
Yeah. I got nothing else.
Very good. I enjoy going to NASCAR. She goes shopping and this and that. I don't. It's cool. I'll watch a race. It's fine. I love watching the people because some of them come out of there and you're like, you own a mirror? Like, did you look at yourself before you come out to this public place? And then the other person, it's like, did you start getting ready last week? Like, holy camole.
Back in the day, Talladega, everybody talked about Talladega, Alabama rednecks and NASCAR. But let me tell you something. You want to see something, you go to the infield at Michigan International Raceway and check it out. There are northern rednecks.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There are.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we would come in, into the track in the mornings for practice, and there's all the RVs set up out there. Everybody's partied all night, and you'd see somebody in a lawn chair passed out, and there's beer cans stacked all the way over their heads. You're like, man, that guy's gonna have a rough day.
And he's probably gonna get, when he does come to, he's gonna get right back at it.
Oh, well, he has no choice. He's gonna have to bite the dog that bit him for sure.
Oh yeah, there's plenty of rednecks up here. I've got.
That's right.
She was in the office doing some invoices and some bids for me yesterday, and I'm working on a boat in between answering questions, doing this and that. And I come back in holding the sawzall. She's like, "What are you doing?" She's like, "I thought you were rigging your boat." I'm like, "I am." I'm like, "This carbide dip sawzall blade that's been sitting on my desk for 6 months that I haven't needed." She said, "I finally need it." Like, bracket looks for a triple mounter. I'm like, I'm not going to spend $800 on a new one. So we just got a ruler out. We marked it off with pencils, cut it in half, ripped this off so this fit. Got an angle grinder, rounded over the corners real nice. Yeah, now we have the most custom Fast Boat Logic double decker mount for the front of the Falcon you've ever seen, and it works great.
Well, I was going to say the fabricator in me. I was going to say, did you file the edges? But you hit it with the grinder, so you're good.
Growing up, I was working in the neighbor's sheet metal shop up the road after school, and you had a sharp corner on something, man. You got your butt in the ringer for that one for sure.
That's right. Number one rule.
Yep. So, well, I think we'll let you hop off here. Really, really greatly appreciate you hopping on with us and talking about everything.
Anytime.
Let everybody know where we can find you at, how we get a hold of you for Falcon Boats or Ark Rods or.
The easiest thing I can say is my cell phone number, 501-655-6197. Falcon Boats, Armada Boats, Offroad Campers, Ark Rods, one-stop shop. Give me a call. If you're a current customer and you need help, call me. That's the one thing I ask people to do is call me and give me an opportunity first, right? So if you're interested in wanting to, know more about one of these products, you want to go for a demo ride, give me a call. I'll get you in a boat somewhere. I mean, heck, got Matt Miller in the boat with you, right? Yep. So we've got people out there that are willing to show you their amazing boats that they have. So give me a call. We'll get you in one. But I'll tell you this: if you get in one, you better be ready to buy one because you're going to want one.
Yes, you are. Absolutely. Awesome. Well, I appreciate it very much, and you have a great night.
Yeah, thank you.
Yep. You guys have a great night.